Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and today I'm going to talk about the main scenario quest from patch 2.3. We're going to be covering the important events that took place as well as what they could mean for future patches in the story and for content. There will be major story spoilers here, so you have been warned. So first, let's recap what happened in patch 2.3. The story kicks off right where we left off in patch 2.2 with Teleji Adeleji giving some sort of unknown order to one of his men. In the beginning of 2.3, we hear of an outburst from the refugees in Ul'dah that Alphinaud has been involved in and is actively investigating. While searching for answers, you eventually find your way to a merchant who says he'll tell you everything you want to know if you promise to protect him. Unfortunately, within seconds of that, an archer watching the conversation executes the merchant with a long-range arrow, silencing him for good. Unsure of what exactly is going on, the adventurer proceeds to a meeting with Alphinaud, the Sultana, and Raubon in an attempt to understand the recent events a little bit better. Now, Raubon and the Sultana explain that Teleji Adeleji is attempting to cause the political bodies of Ul'dah to agree to an act known as the Carteneau Reclamation Bill, which will provide housing and shelter to refugees in the Carteneau flats as opposed to them living in Ul'dah. These flats were decimated by Bahamut's arrival, and as a result, Allagan ruins now litter the area. Because of this, the three nations hold a military presence in the area, and there are very high tensions between them. If Teleji's bill were to pass, it would cause severe political problems between the three nations and give Teleji control over the area. His ultimate purpose? To obtain a piece of Allagan technology that was discovered there, Omega Weapon. An ancient weapon with power enough to fell Bahamut. This would grant Teleji power not over just of Ul'dah, but of all Eorzea should he succeed in obtaining and repairing it. So on top of all these political troubles within Ul'dah and the other nations, we also learn that the Sylphs have resummoned Ramuh, the Lord of Levin. Unlike other primals though, he is a wise and benevolent leader who only wishes to protect his home. He's more of a guardian than a conqueror. The adventurer is asked to exchange words with him in an attempt to negotiate peace between him and Gridania. Ramuh is initially insulted that man, the sole proprietors of evil in his opinion, would ask for peace. However, upon seeing the adventurer with a crystal that Ramuh himself entrusted to the Sylph leaders, Ramuh knows that if the adventurer was gifted such a treasure, then he must be a true hero, not just to man, but to all races. Ramuh puts the adventurer on trial. Pass, and he shall bear the responsibility of righting all the wrong man has done. Fail, and Ramuh will ensure man is wiped from the face of the earth, even beyond his home in the forest. The adventurer passes his trial, and Urianger uses this engagement between the two as an attempt to find a more permanent way of dealing with the Ascians, who are at this point believed to be immortal. You return to the Rising Stones where Minfilia and Urianger explain how their plan will work after explaining how Aether works. They will trap an Ascian soul in the living world before it can return to the world between realms, hence preventing them from regenerating, which should in turn kill them. With that idea out there, now all that's needed is an actual plan of doing that, which they're also working on. At the same time, Alphinaud seeks to ensure that the Scions have even more resources for the coming struggle, and enlists the three grand companies and nations to dedicate resources to them in the form of soldiers and funding, to create an army known as the Crystal Braves. Free of any Grand Company affiliation, they too serve as a means to protect the realm at any cost, regardless of political problems. And during all of this, the Ascians have continued scheming a way to revive their one true god, Zodiark. With La Habrea now revived, him and Elidibus work towards the final pieces of their plan in the heart of Korthus. While the Lady Iceheart draws the attention of Korthan soldiers, the Ascians seek to gain control of Ishgard by influencing their Archbishop to trigger the final events to bring Zodiark back. Alright, so in my opinion, this was one of the best story arcs we've gotten so far. Again, like the other ones, it ended with a lot of cliffhangers, and I know that that can really irk some people when we just want to get some conclusive ends. But we are finally starting to see acts of the previous patches come together. You know, patch 2.2 with seeing the Sahagin who held the ability to be immortal, as well as how Leviathan felled him, as well as La Habrea coming back into the mix, which Elidibus told us was going to happen back in 2.1. On top of us finally getting a sort of peek at Zodiark and how the Ascians sort of meet together. It's very Organization 13-esque if you're a big Kingdom Hearts fan. And on top of all that, there's political problems within Ul'dah that are answered from the end of 2.2 with Teleji Adeleji. And we, of course, have a bunch of name drops that are going to be of major interest. So I want to cover these things in the order that I talked about them for the most part, though. So the biggest thing is obviously the Cartano Reclamation Bill, which even though at first it just seems like a political problem, when it's eventually revealed that Omega Weapon is a big part of this, I think we're already seeing that similar to Ultima Weapon, we can probably expect an Omega Weapon fight sometime in the future. I mean, it's Final Fantasy. You're not going to have an Ultima Weapon fight without an Omega Weapon fight. I'm assuming we'll get a very similar thing where we fight him in a story mode and then sort of a separate hard mode similar to the way we dealt with Ultima Weapon. And on top of that, that is really a big deal, because if he's as strong as Bahamut, it's almost guaranteed we won't fight him at full strength, that they'll sort of half repair him and we'll be able to deal with him before he's fully restored, and maybe the hard mode will be the fully restored Omega Weapon, but even that's hard to believe because you saw what Bahamut did. There's a classic saying, I think it's Deathwing took 2 years or something to be freed and didn't fully destroy Azeroth. Bahamut was alive for 158 seconds and basically succeeded. He ended 1.0, so he technically ended the world. So I'm really looking forward to the Omega Weapon sort of being played on in 2.4 a little bit more, because the way that this patch ended, you know that it's coming, and it's going to be very soon. I don't think we'll get Omega in 2.4. It's a possibility. I'm more or less expecting that in 2.5. So on top of all that, now that's that part out of the way. We have Omega Weapon coming. I'm very much looking forward to that. And then, of course, we have the Ascians and Zodiark. Zodiark, if you've played Final Fantasy XII, I don't think he'll look like that Zodiark, just based on the statue that we see during the scene where they're all talking. And again, I do think that this is going to be similar in vein to Omega, where we'll have a story mode and we will have a hard mode difficulty. I think they should sort of treat, if Zodiark is going to be the final boss, if we are actually going to fight him and we're not just going to stop his revival, I think they need to treat him in similar vein to the way they did Nail Van Darnus back in 1.0. Where he is part of the story and really anybody can beat him. You know, it's a difficult fight, but it's first and foremost part of the story, and it's more supposed to be epic than it is supposed to be difficult. And then go the extra mile and make a difficult version of him. I can expect we're going to be getting an Omega and a Zodiark fight, both a normal and a more difficult version of the two. But the biggest thing that everybody's talking about is Lady Iceheart, because that is without a doubt Shiva. We were told we were going to start setting up for Shiva in this patch. Lady Iceheart, they don't know her name, they don't know anything. All they know is that anybody who has fallen under her sort of spell, I guess we'll call it, anybody who follows her would rather die than betray her. And that really sounds like the way primals sort of infect the minds of people to gain more followers. The only thing that seems kind of strange, we do briefly see what seems to be an Elvon woman, or an Elizan woman. Sorry, that was my Final Fantasy XI instincts kicking in right there. And it almost makes it seem like Shiva's disguising herself as a person. And that's a big possibility. There's also a possibility that the woman we see isn't Shiva at all, and that wasn't actually Lady Iceheart, but that's pretty far-fetched. I mean, we already know what Shiva looks like. And to be honest, she doesn't look exactly like this Elizan woman. I mean, we don't see all of her, but you can see how it can sort of transform. I mean, Shiva does have sort of an Elizan look to her, and it may be her true form. And I think we'll actually fight her in 2.4. I've been back and forth about that, and the words from the developers have made it seem like we won't fight her in 2.4, but I have a feeling it's going to be Shiva in 2.4, and then for our final primal for this expansion, I have a feeling 2.5 will actually be Fenrir. I don't know the story behind it yet, but I have a feeling that it's Odin or Fenrir is going to be very important in patch 2.5, whereas Shiva is going to be sort of the, no pun intended, the heart of patch 2.5. Of patch 2.4, my bad. And the one last thing that I want to kind of throw out there is that Coerthas went through this giant change. It's now basically a popsicle, as opposed to just a mountainous area like it was. And a lot of that's attributed to Bahamut, him sort of disrupting the etheric flow, messing with the balance of the nations, of the weather specifically. But you got to remember, Coerthas is to the far north of Eorzea, but the Garlean Empire is even farther north, so unless they are completely covered in snow, it's kind of strange that just this area, Coerthas, is sort of covered in snow. So I have a feeling that maybe when we beat Shiva, when we defeat her, at least as part of the story, that a lot of Coerthas may actually thaw out. I've heard other people speaking of this theory as well, that upon defeating Shiva, we may actually see Coerthas thaw out, which would then open up. Remember, the area we have in Coerthas is only, I guess 1/5 of the total size that Coerthas was in 1.0, and all the other areas are blocked off, whether it be through rocky outcrops or things like that, or that's not the right word, just sort of new, just the way the land was destroyed, just everything being chopped away from one another. The biggest thing is that waterfall where we see Lady Iceheart. That's another area to the west that is also on the map. I just feel like there is a lot of room to expand Coerthas, and using Shiva as a plot device where she sort of has the area frozen over as she's been gaining strength over time, I think that would definitely be an interesting way of opening up the rest of the map. But there are a lot of things that we can expect. So Zodiark, Omega Weapon, we have Shiva coming soon. I suspect Fenrir may have something to do in the following patch. Odin also definitely needs a deeper storyline, but there's so many places it can go. And I actually am really excited for patch 2.4 story, especially with just patch 2.4 Ninja coming along at the same time. The third coil, we're going to be finishing off coil. There's a lot of story elements we're going to be seeing that are just going to explode in the next couple of months. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. Sorry for rambling on a bit, but when it comes to the story, I really do like exploring the multiple options that may be coming at a later date. But anyway, guys, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share for more Final Fantasy XIV videos, guides, lore videos, whatever. Just check out the other videos on my channel and you'll see for yourself. Be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitch, where I have been live streaming a lot more lately, so you should definitely come by the stream, support the stream, and come check it out. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.